How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Box to Box. I'm still out here self-isolating, so yeah, the Box to Boxes can't be done in person, but I'm joined with a good friend of mine, Kagey. Kagey, how's it going, my bro?
Yeah, I wish I was making my AFTV debut under better circumstances, but I'm here, man. It's good to be here. Shout out to everyone at AFTV too.
Love, bro, love. We was just talking about that off air too. There certain points last season, you was on my neck about the big six, and then all of a sudden this season, we're doing a box to box off the back of a 7-0. It's all mad, Kagey. What's going on? Talk to me.
Oh man, I mean, where should we start? I mean, do you want to talk about the 7-0 drumming? Do you want to talk about that?
Not necessarily just the drubbing, but I'm more interested in the second season. What's gone wrong. What did you expect coming into this? The season. A lot of teams that come up from Championship, they have a good season, maybe a good season or two, and then things catch up to them. With Leeds, it just seems like that's come full circle in one season, and this season looks to be one of those ones where hanging on to the league come May is probably the best case scenario. So how are you feeling about it all?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the plan. I'm sure that wasn't the plan by management too, but we didn't do enough in the summer, and it really stems from that. Our summer window wasn't good enough. I think us finishing ninth last year really gave the club a lot of confidence that they really shouldn't have had coming into the second season.
Mm.
And they relied on team spirit and togetherness to get us through another year. But I do believe that they underestimated it. And I've said that many times on my channel. They didn't do enough. We didn't address many positions that we needed to. And it kind of shows as well because we've seen a bit of unrest over the last couple of weeks that we haven't seen under the reign of Bielsa so far. It's not that anyone wants Bielsa out. It's just that we want things. Well, I'll speak for myself. I want things to be adjusted, get more players in for the first team, so it's not so stretched, and more quality on the ball. We've got enough runners. We need more people that can do something with the ball. I say it a lot, but people always give you running stats, pressing stats. What
Yeah.
about what you can do with the actual football? And for me, that's what we need to do. We need to invest in a couple of players.
Yeah, because one key component that's missing from last season is the goals you guys scored. It was always end-to-end stuff with Leeds. It was always a very attacking mindset. Um, and yeah, just the lack of goals this season seems to be costing. I mean, you've scored 17 so far this season, and when you look at the way you entered the league last season, albeit end to end, your goals were, the entertainment side, but also getting you guys points and finishing ninth.
Yeah.
You mentioned unrest. What is that unrest? Is it amongst the players? Is it doubt in Bielsa? Is it what's next?
Well, it's a mix of everything because I think most fans would say they back Bielsa at this point. There are a few that have said they want him gone, but they think that he can't do anything more. But I think it's just the fact that lately we've seen, well, it was on TV, Victor Orta, our director of football, arguing with fellow fans after we equalised 2-2 at home against Ivan Tonyless Brentford, may I add. So that shows you where we are this season.
Yeah.
Even our CEO in program notes is usually a joker, but he came out a little bit, a little bit catty, and
Mhm.
even admitted the poor performances haven't been where they thought they would be. And yeah, we haven't really seen fans not go at each other, but have this much discontent under Bielsa so far. This has been the first time where people are starting to question his tactics, the way we're playing, positional play as well of players, because we've seen Dan James being thrown up front when we've got Joe Gelhardt here ready to go. Instead of putting James out on the wing, he'll put James down the middle, and it's like, come on, if we can see it, why can't you see it? But
Yeah.
and like you say, we're not scoring enough goals, and that's been a big problem because again, it's so unfortunate. I've come after a 7-0 loss, but we was -8 at that point before the City game, and that wasn't due to us scoring 3 and them scoring 4 or 5. It was just due to us not being able to score. But then that
Yeah.
-7, I mean, that 7 takes now to -15, which is a big hindrance where we are. And it just hasn't been good enough defensively, not open wise, but just in terms of letting in simple goals. Like we're having to work really hard to score our goals, and everyone else is getting these scrappy ones that we're just letting go by us. And it's been a fixture all season long. Yes, it hasn't been as fun as last season. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, yeah. Currently 16th in the league. From the conversation we're having so far, I don't think you're one of the ones on Bielsa's back, but
No, no, no.
we know how the Premier League can be, and if you're in and around the relegation zone come the new year, do you think you might look at it a bit differently, or are you saying Bielsa till the end of the season, regardless of how it looks?
Well, for me, January is the key. January is vital, and I've said it before, but I think January is usually a quiet month. But with the Premier League the way it is this season, I think there's going to be a few teams in the mix, and I think even yourselves will be in there with what's going on with Pepe, Aubameyang. I think there might be a bit of movement in January, and for me, it's about players coming in. He always says that he's not close to getting in new players, but they have to be better than what we've got. My thing is, I just don't want him to overvalue what we've got because he's never been at a club this long before, and I can see that he's been attached to a couple of these players. He's gotten attached to them.
Yeah.
So if we're offered a player that's better than say Mateus Click, and he says no, that for me is a problem, big problem as well, because we shouldn't be saying no to better players than what we've currently got. And look at our league position. You can't really say that many of them are doing what they believe that they should be doing.
Yeah. Well, talking about January, how much do you guys want for Rafinha?
Yeah. He's not going anywhere. And listen, who knows where we'd be without that guy? I tell you that. And it's so funny now because now a couple of his performances have been called into question. That's the levels he's set. If he's not assisting or scoring in a game, it's like, well, what has he done? But he does so much for us. He's our outlet. When we're not doing anything, he'll just pull something out of the bag and give us something. But he can't do it by himself. And with all the other players that are not there, yeah, it's quite mad. Listen, you know what? We're talking Arsenal here. I would love to see Ainsley Maitland-Niles come to Leeds on loan. He would be perfect under Bielsa. He plays in multiple positions, and he'd be a huge upgrade on what we've got currently. So I'd love to see that happen, but I'm sure he's got a queue of clubs waiting for him as well.
Yeah, you'd think that, but he's been, out on the market a few times. In January, when he went over to West Brom, was Leeds interested at all at that point? Or obviously that was a different season. And
yeah, I don't think so. But I think, was it Everton that were interested in the summer? When he put out that statement.
Someone was, yeah. Well, over the last year or so, it's been Wolves, Everton, West Brom. Maybe a couple others in there.
Yeah, and that's something else that I really like. I mean, I'm sure some Arsenal fans were a bit peeved by him saying, "I just want to go somewhere where I want to play." But I love seeing that he's at such a big club like Arsenal, but he's willing to go in order to play football instead of just sitting there collecting a check. I think that's a good attribute to have, especially with his capabilities. So, yeah, I would love to see us going for him on loan because we're not going to be able to spend 20, 30 million on players, and I'm not asking them to do that. But there are definitely going to be players that we can use on loan for cheap. There's going to be a championship player that will be playing Premier League football in John Swift. His contract's up next summer. I'd love us to look at him and upgrade our midfield straight away there. He's one of the very few not very few, but he's one of the few championship players that will step up to the Premier League and fit in. And it's up to us to get him.
Yeah. Listen, it's a mad one for Leeds because I actually, I like Leeds. I mean, Leeds have got a history of a great history when you look at some of the things over time that Leeds have accomplished, and it is a shame the way Leeds did go down all those years ago and the financial side of things. And at Arsenal Football Club, I know all too well about ownership and lack of care and decline and whatnot. So it was a sad story, and it was good to see Leeds back last season, but it does look like that second season syndrome is catching up. But January might be the month, like you said, where business might have to be done to secure your place in the league. And you know what? When you look at the league table and you look at the relegation zone, there's quite a few teams down there that it's hard for people to predict who's going down this season. I think a lot would say Norwich and Newcastle are firm candidates. But aside from those two, it's really, take your pick for the next slot in there.
Yeah, and this is the thing, isn't it? It's I would say as we record this now, we're not going to be one of the worst three teams come the end of the season. But again, all depends on January. January, I can't stress enough how important that is because you're also looking at Newcastle, Norwich. They'll be investing. Both of them have got new managers. Newcastle obviously have that new wealth. They'll be trying to upgrade in a few areas themselves. Villa are well out of it now, but they'll be strengthening under Gerrard and getting a couple of those players out. I think Everton have been linked with a left back today, so they're strengthening as we speak. Yeah. So this is why it's important that we don't sit still. Because if we do sit still and we're the same come the end of January, I would say that we would probably be a candidate to finish in that bottom three. And after all the hard work to undo it, just because you want to believe in the current players that we've got would be a crying shame.
Yeah, because getting knocked back down, it's not that easy to come up, as you know too well.
And Turkish, we wouldn't be one of those that bounce back up, because unlike Norwich, who get to keep all their assets, Max Aarons, Todd Cantwell, and all those guys, unfortunately, we're a bigger profile, so people see our players much more. So Calvin Phillips, Rafinha, they're certainly not going to be playing away at Luton. So we would have to be ready to lose those kind of players. And Bielsa probably won't be here either. So we'll be starting from zero. We're not going to be one of those that just bounce back up.
Yeah. Well, worrying signs if that does happen. But listen, Kagey, talk to me about Arsenal Football Club. Beat West Ham the other day, entered the top 4 for the first time in God knows how long. I can't really remember the last time we was in there, and come December anyway. Well, it's been one of those seasons for Arsenal. You know, some results will indicate that things are not going as well as people would have hoped or would have thought. And then a couple of results later, it looks like things are going better than people would have hoped and thought. Outside looking in, KG, obviously, you're a massive football fan. And you know, you look at teams across the league, and Arsenal are one of those teams that on the internet was still very much up there in terms of a top team. What do you make of it so far this season and Mikel Arteta?
Well, being fourth at Christmas is that would be pretty good for you guys in the current state. I think that the squad is rebuilding nicely. I think overall the summer recruitment, when you look at it, was a success. So you brought in players, you spent a lot of money, and a couple of them were questionable. I mean, I think we even joked about Ramsdale, but shout out to Ramsdale. He's doing the business, so much so that you've got rival fans mocking his clean sheets. I mean, when does a goalkeeper ever get mocked for clean sheets? That's how rattled you've gotten. But no, he's doing tremendously well. Ben White, I think, will get better. You know, on the defensive side, you know, that's always been a thing. He's always been good on the ball. I know that firsthand. He's always been good on the ball, but you know, defensively needs to improve. But Tomiyasu's been good.
Yeah,
it's all it is with Arsenal as well. Is just play your young players that are talented, and you've done that, and you're getting the rewards from it now. Smith Rowe, Martinelli. It's about sometimes the old guard, like when William was getting played game after game, and you know, you may have had Smith Rowe in reserve. He should have been playing. I don't know if he was injured at that time, but I did say that on another podcast, Arsenal podcast before. He was going to be one that you would use in your first team, and lo and behold, now he's an England international. So it's all looking good. And I know that the teams below you've got a few games in hand, but they've got to play them at some point, and it might be in a cluster where they can't claw all these points back. So you're in a great spot right now in fourth place. They've got to catch you. So you can't complain. Yes, you would like a couple of performances to have been better, Everton, etc. But that's where you are right now. So you're in the mix for the top 4, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what a lot of fans are saying. We're in the mix for top 4. Again, outside looking in, KG, do you think we'll be in that mix come, let's say, March next year?
It's tough to say at this point because, again, January, I think even West Ham will be strengthening. I mean, you did outplay them. You were way better than them the other night, but even they will be looking and saying, wow, we do need to get another striker to help Mikel Antonio because he looked dead out on his feet in that game. You know, they may even go back in for Lingard too. So they'll be strengthening. Man United will be more coached under Ralph Ragnick. So they'll be getting better because they've always had the squad. It's just that they didn't have the coach. That's what I mean. It's going to be an interesting battle for that fourth place. What you guys need to do is, like the game coming up, although I hope it doesn't happen, the game in total, actually, I hope they call this thing off. But I hope it doesn't happen that you need to follow up that result against West Ham with a win against a depleted Leeds United, against a depleted Leeds United team. That's been the problem, isn't it? You're plagued in one game, and then you'll see a completely different kind of Arsenal in the next one. So it's about getting a bit of consistency and results together.
Yeah, I mean, after that West Ham performance and result, I looked at Leeds, Norwich, and Wolves to see out the year, and I'm looking at 9 points. In all reality, we kick off. Yeah, we kick off 2022 against Man City at the Emirates on the 1st of January, midday kickoff. So thanks for that, Premier League. But you know, none of us went into the season expecting to take much off the Man Cities, the Liverpools, or even the Chelseas. I think it's the teams in and around us. And what Arsenal have done well is Leicester away, win, clean sheet. Yeah. Tottenham, win. Everton was the letdown, but West Ham win. And these are the teams that we thought would be in and around us for top 6, top 4, whatever it might be. If you was to stick your neck on the line and say a team that's going to finish 4th, in your opinion, who would it be?
I would say Man United, not just because they're Manchester United, but when you just look at the players they've got, I think that kind of gets lost sometimes. They just weren't being coached properly. and it was quite clear as day. Now they've got somebody who will coach the players and make them play an actual system. I think that maybe their quality over the season may just get them ahead, but let's see what happens. It's such an unpredictable season right now. No one really knows. So
Yeah, it is. Every couple of weeks, the league table change. Well, not so much at the top three, but everything else in between. Yeah, it keeps on changing. Looking at head-to-heads between us, over the last 18 months or so, we've played each other 4 times, twice in the league last year, once in the FA Cup, where we got a 1-0 win, Reece Nelson, and once in the League Cup this season, where it was 2-0, Eddie and Nketiah and Chambers, I believe. We've conceded 2 in those 4 games, scored 7. So on paper, it looks good for Arsenal Football Club, Kagey.
Yeah, we might need to wheel back Viduka and Kuhl again, man. Get some of the
don't even remind me of those times. That was heartbreak one season.
Oh man, brilliant! It's brilliant.
That was handball from Harry Kuhl. I don't care if there was VAR back then; it would have been ruled out. But listen, are you confident at all? Do you think you can take something from the game? Are you that concerned about your recent form that it looks like it's going to be another one down the pan this weekend? How are you feeling about this game?
Well, I mean, literally, I've got no shame. I've joined Saeed and Shameless FC, and I want this game to get called off with the old other host of Premier League games that have been called off so far. And I've got no problem saying that because right now we're not in good shape. I mean, I lamented our small squad anyway, but when you take in the players that we'll have missing in this game, regardless, it would have been hard enough for us as it is. And I'll just go through the list just for people that don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll have Calvin Phillips out. Obviously, he's out till February, which is terrible.
Mad.
Patrick Bamford, Liam Cooper, Jamie Shackleton, Rodrigo, Pascal Struijk, and this week, Daniel James, and also our one recognised left-back, Junior Firpo, suspended. So we're going to have to do a lot of shuffling in the pack. And that's why I say to you, as Arsenal, you've got to look at this game. And if you don't get a win, you've got to be disappointed. So for us, anything but a loss will be a positive result given the circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at our last few fixtures, Newcastle at home, Southampton at home, clean sheets, wins, West Ham, clean sheet win, but it's away from home that's really let us down. I mean, Liverpool's one thing, you can push that to the side.
Yeah.
Man United, I feel like, there was something to take from that game. It is what it is, but Everton was really the poor one. So this away game for me is more than just the 3 points. It's about getting it back on track, because once you go so many away games without a win or without a performance, that old cloud starts forming around your heads and people start talking about it. And the less to talk about, the better right now, Arsenal Football Club, in terms of sorts of statistics. So I really, like you said, coupled up with the injuries, your recent form, I think anything less than a W at Ellen Road would be a disappointment for us. Key battles, KG, where if Leeds are to take anything from this game for you, albeit with all those injuries, where is the key battle for you? Whether it's defensively to keep someone quiet on the Arsenal end, or whether it's offensively to maybe nick something. Obviously, Rafinha stands out, but
yeah, I mean, Rafinha for me will obviously play. I mean, that goes without saying. But Joe Gelhardt as well. He needs to start the game. Like, we are literally down to the bare bones, so there's no reason for this kid not to play. And he's not just like one of those where you talk about him as a young player that could do it. He's going to be a big star in the future. And he loves it. He loves it. All these young players, a bit like your guys at your place, the young guys are fearless. If they lose the ball or anything like that, they just get back on it again and they don't hide. And he's exactly the same. You can dribble past people. He's got one hell of a shot on him. So we need to utilize him into the best of our ability. Play a couple of our young players that have got the talent to do it and bring them into the first team. And so, up front, and also just don't let the runners run through as easy as we did against Man City, because it was just awful. We had no midfield in that game. It was defense. There was no attack. I don't know what there was in that game, in all fairness. It's all a blur now. I got hit so many times. I can't even remember it. But yeah, it's just about keeping it tight defensively for me. That's what we've got to do. We're down to the bare bones. We can't play the man-to-man marking system against all the talent that you've got. We've got to adjust and just sit back and let you try and break us down. And the factor as well is Ellen Road. The fans, although our form hasn't been good, we've drawn a lot of games at home this season. We've got to use the crowd to our advantage and let them push on whoever's playing on the pitch that day.
Who are you most worried about in the Arsenal attack?
Smith Rowe. I'd say Smith Rowe. I think he'll start because he came off the bench, didn't he, and scored. I think he's going to get the start in this game. And he was one that, like I said earlier, that I knew would do big things for you, and he's proven it. He's adding goals to his game now, which he needed to do. You know, he was doing all the nice dribbling stuff before with little end product, but he's stepped that up this season big time. So yeah, Smith Rowe would be the key for me.
Smith Rowe, yeah, I'm hearing that name a lot when I'm doing these box to boxes now, which is a big credit to Smith Rowe for the way he's not only kicked on, but being given that number 10 shirt with the new contract was massive in the summer. And you know, he hasn't let that weight carry down his shoulders too much. He's taken it upon himself, chest out, and he's kicked on. He's improved. I mean, going into the season,
you can see he loves that kind of pressure. You can see it in his face, in his demeanor. He loves being the man. So he's not going to shrink away from that. That's why he probably asked for it.
Yeah, going into the season, we would have all said Saka's the brightest star, but now we've got a few. We've got Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, Martinelli in the past few games has kicked on. Great finish against West Ham. We've come to that time now, KG. Prediction time. I'm going to hand it over to you first for the prediction.
Right. Okay. Well, my heart says 1-1 draw, and I would take that and run. But my footballing head says a 2-1 Arsenal win.
1-1 draw says the heart, 2-1 says the head. I get that, though. Sometimes in bad times, you have to say heart and head because you two very different contrasting feelings or thoughts behind it. I'm going with a 3-1 Arsenal win. Because of everything we've said, KG, recently Leeds have been quite open. They haven't really posed as much of an attacking threat as I'm used to from Leeds over the last 12 to 18 months. And Arsenal are in top form in terms of making top four now. Well, we're in top four in December. We've just beaten one of the challengers for that top four, top six position. A team that everyone would say deserved to be in there. So I think at the moment, Arsenal, get the job done. I know there's teams behind us with games in hand, Tottenham and Man United, and the league could look different when those games in hand are played. But in all honesty, I'd rather the points on the board than the games in hand. So
absolutely,
let's just get the job done. I'm going 3-1 Arsenal win. It's interesting you said Smith Rowe to start. I assume he will, but Arteta's kept the same team for 3 games in a row, and that includes Odegaard with Martinelli and Saka either side. So it'll be interesting to see how he does do it against Leeds with Xhaka and Partey. Does he go again with the same setup, or does Emil Smith Rowe slot back in? It'll be interesting to see. KG, let them know where they can find you. Obviously, we'll put the links in the description and whatnot, but let them know a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm at KG Vision. That's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. All of that, KG Vision. You can find me. I always do my match reaction straight after the games. So even after that 7-0, I was straight on 5 minutes after, going with a good old therapy session, man, which was very helpful. But yeah, that's where I am on all socials, man. KG Vision. You can find me there.
There you go, people. Therapy sessions. We know all about those too. Big up Curtis Shaw TV on the therapy session.
Yeah, Curtis, man. Yeah.
But you heard it here. KG Vision, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Links are in the description below. So make sure you support KGM. I'm due to be on your channel. Hopefully we get that done later today. So look out for that, people. If you've just watched this video, then head over to KG's where I should be there again. If I'm not there, then an Arsenal rep will be there. So make sure you guys check that out. And love for the love as always, people. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. Let us know predictions, thoughts, lineups, all of that in the comment section below. Does Emil Smith Rowe come back in? If he does, who gets left out? Put it all in the comment section below, people. Love.